Well, welcome to part two, YouTube. Again, hopefully you watched my part one video on this series, and just to reiterate what I said in part one, these are tools that I'm recommending to somebody who's not going to be a technician, but haven't really done auto mechanics in the past. They want to do it on their own in their own garage, on their own cars in the future. They want to learn. They don't know what tools to get. They maybe want to avoid some pitfalls. So that's what these tool recommendations are for. They're not for somebody that's going to be who wants to be a tech, or even for somebody who is a tech. Obviously, that would be a different video, or different. I would give different advice, even though I'm not a tech. So I'm not a tech. I've never been a tech. I just work on my own cars for years. So it's kind of advice for me, for my years of working on cars, what I need. So keep that in mind. Now let's go on to part two. Anyways, let's look at ratchets. So with my Husky, so I showed you those ratchets, right? They were junk. This one is Husky. This one's Husky. And there's a big difference between these ones. Even though they look similar, I mean, you know, here's the half-inch from Husky. Now, here's the quarter-inch that's not from Husky. And they look, you know, I mean, look at the style. It's very similar. The heads are similar, other than this has this part that is handy. So these are like the older style. There's a lot of teeth in them. I mean, listen to that, click, click, big clicks. Maybe only 40 teeth. These only have 40 teeth or so. But even so, these are just way better than these ones are. Anyways, it's hard to find. I guess you can still find them maybe at Home Depot, but people don't buy these anymore. It came with my set, again, 17 years ago, but they still work pretty good. But I wanted an upgrade. I mean, I had this half-inch, just so you know, I had this half-inch forever. And I just barely bought it. I just decided to buy something better than this one for half-inch, because I would use this one, and then I would use a breaker bar. I'll show you breaker bars in a second, because you definitely need one. But I would just use this in a breaker bar, and that was pretty much all my needs. And then so here's the quarter-inch that was in the set, and then I had a 3/8 that broke, or I lost it. I don't know. And I bought this one. This is from Husky. They don't make this one anymore. It's a Husky Pro. This is my first 72 teeth ratchet. Absolutely love it. I've used it. Look, you can't even see that it's from Husky anymore. I wore it out. It's just worn out. I guess you can if you look at the laser etching that's wearing off as well. I've used this a lot. I haven't broken it yet. I'm actually amazed that I haven't broken it. I'm amazed I haven't broken it yet. But, I mean, it's just small, thin, gets everywhere I want it to go. I've loved this ever since I bought it. And I was meaning to buy more, but now they don't make them anymore. And so I decided to move up. I've shown this ratchet before, but only recently have I bought it. Here's the one from Harbor Freight, Pittsburgh. This guy is 72 teeth as well, and I love it as well. It's a great ratchet. So, and it works. It's so much better than those other ones. This is the 3/8 drive. I bought this one and I was like, I'm never going back to the less than 72 teeth. And you can barely even hear it. I bet you it's because it's all worn out. It's always been that smooth, though. It is so smooth. I mean, I could barely feel. Anyways, so much better, but not a lot more money, right? Especially when you look at other ratchets that are so much more. So I bought this one not too long ago. I've used it a bunch. I've really liked it. Pittsburgh. I mean, if you can buy this, right, there's no reason to have those really cheap ones. So if you're definitely looking at ratchets, I mean, if you're looking to get into one, you want to get some good ones. And going back to that 301 piece set, they have good ratchets in it. already in the set. I mean, they don't have this one. Maybe you'd buy this one extra. I bought this, and because I like this one so much, right? And because I needed something to kind of supplement my big 1/2 inch, is I got this guy that's huge from Harbor Freight, 20 something bucks, big 1/2 inch guy. I haven't even used it yet. I will. I just haven't had a reason to yet because I don't do this every day, so it's kind of here and there when I work on stuff. But again, I mean, the point here is that you don't need, you don't need to spend a lot on ratchets. Buy the Pittsburgh ones, the Pittsburgh Pro. There you go. If you stay with Pittsburgh Pro, you're going to have just good enough. It'll work just fine. It'll be nice. It won't break on you unless you're really wrenching on it. And again, it's like night and day over these junk ones. Night and day. So that's ratchets. Let's move on. Okay, so I don't know if you can see these at all. So these are just big old sockets, right? 1/2 inch drive, impact, deep, and I don't have a lot of them. In fact, I guess the set I showed you, it went up to 27 in that. That's what this one's, the 27. But it also had a 32, and it had this. What is this? A 30? 30. Okay. Anyways, so I was able to use. I think the 32 it fits the nut on my. So an axle nut on your car has an axle nut for your axles, for front wheel drive, or anything that has, well, pretty much it's front wheel drive axles. And it has a big old nut. I guess rear wheel drive will have it too. But there's a big old nut and you got to take it off, and you need a big socket to do it. And I've used the chrome ones, I guess, for my Husky sockets, the 12-point chrome. The 32, I broke 2 of them doing that before, taking that nut off. And it's only like 100 pounds. 100 foot-pounds is how much it's on. But I broke it, split it, and then I got a new one, because they give you a new one if you break them. Anyways, this Harbor Freight one I've never broken. Takes it right off because they're thicker. And this one, the only reason I have a 36 is because when I got my Tahoe, I needed to change out the wheel bearings. And that's, so if you're going to change your tie rod ends, not your tie rod ends, if you're going to change your CV joint or your CV axle, or you're going to change your bearings, your front wheel bearings, you're going to have to take the axle off and just go buy the one socket. So I bought this at Napa. It was like 10 bucks. Actually, I think it was less than that. And that's all I needed. I haven't needed anything other than these. I might buy a bigger set just because I, just filling my set out in case I need it. But I haven't needed anything other than these ones. So if you get it, you buy a set and it doesn't go big enough, don't worry about it. It'll, if you find something that's big, that you need bigger, just go get the one socket that you'll need. Easy as that. Go to Napa. They'll sell you one individually, and they have pretty much every size. I guess before I leave sockets, you got to talk about swivel, because you'll run into it. So a long time ago, I bought this set. Actually, first I bought these at Harbor Freight years ago. I've used them a lot. I like these better than the other type. I guess I can show you the other type. Here, let me go get the other type. Okay, so this is a 1/4 inch, 3/8, 1/2 inch. Obviously, they're different sizes, but they make this in all the different sizes. So this is a universal joint, or a swivel, because it swivels. Anyways, this one, just like chrome stuff, you're supposed to use chrome stuff with hand tools, and you're supposed to use, these are impact rated. So you use these with impact guns. And they say you're not supposed to do it back, like you're not supposed to use impact tools with hand tools, and you're not supposed to use hand tools with impact tools. I don't know. I've used like these are impact, and I use them with hand tools all the time. I don't know what to tell you. They don't break. So I like these better, but like, I'm sure these have a place. I just never liked them. However, so you'll see people, especially me. I mean, I talked to a technician friend of mine. He bought a swivel set from Matco, full set, 3/8 drive, and so he convinced me I needed one. Because he'd say that's pretty much all I use. So I bought this guy from Northern Industrial years ago, and I haven't used it that much. So what so first of all, what these are universal. They're adapters. That's what they are. So you can take any socket. So here's this. This is my 1/2 inch. So you can take any 1/2 inch socket, and it instantly makes it a universal. If I can put it on. Come on. One-handed. Okay. It's easier two-handed. So it makes it so that you have a universal. So what this does is, like, you can attack it at a different angle, and it just makes life easier, right? But the problem with this is that it's long, and so sometimes it might be too long. So with these, they're shorter. These are kind of big because they're a cheaper brand, but you can get some pretty small ones from the other tool companies. I don't like this set because it doesn't have let's see, it goes, I'm telling you, dude, this one drives me crazy. It goes 10, this one's 11, 10, 11, this one's 12, 13. It's like, oh yeah, that's going good. It's going good, man. 14, no skip sizes. What's this one? This one is a 16. And this one is 17. Here's the thing, like 15, like your most used socket, at least my most used sockets, is 10. 10 is the most used, right? 13, and then 15. Like 10, 13, 15. I use the other ones, but I don't know, I don't use 16. 14 I've used. Other than that, I mean, it's 10, 13, 15. 17. I use 17s. Maybe it's because maybe those other ones are for like more foreign cars. My domestic cars, those are the ones I use. Anyway, so not having a 15 is infuriating. But I mean, I'm planning to. So I really like these. I don't know. Is it even showing up very well? Is it too dark or too light? Too black? They obviously don't show any wear except for 13 does and the 10 does. That's because that's the ones that I use. These will definitely, I mean, getting a socket like this, you definitely want to. You definitely want to get the adapters. And I'm going to get a new set from SunX and get a full set. That's my next, I'm going to buy some. That's not my next purchase, but it's going to be a purchase I make. I've been looking at those SK ones. They're a lot more expensive, but I'll probably get the SunX ones. But definitely look at these. You don't need them mostly, unless, like, the only times you really need them are definitely if you're doing a transmission. If you're changing a clutch out of a transmission, you better be buying these at least. I use these. That's when I really found out how awesome they are. You can use these for everything, but you don't need to. So that's up to you. Anyways, swivel sockets, impact sockets, big 1/2 inch sockets. Something to think about for getting your own stuff. Okay, so extensions and breaker bars. So first of all, this is a breaker bar. They have them. I only have 1/2 inch ones, and I have 3 of them. And the reason I have 3 is I put one of these in my each vehicle, along with I buy an individual socket that fits the wheel or the lug nuts on my wheels, and I just put the socket on here. I put this in the car, so I leave it in both cars with the socket that fits the wheels for that car. This is easier for taking wheels off, or for lug nuts or bolts that are. Then this third one stays in my toolbox. Anyways, I buy these Harbor Freight. I bought a Craftsman one, and it's shorter. I bought it. It's a made in USA one. That's when I bought it a couple years ago. And it works fine. I haven't broken it yet, but it's shorter, so it doesn't get as much leverage. So I put it in my Saturn because it don't need as much force. For the Tahoe, I like to have this really big, long one. But use these for breaking bolts loose when you're working. So if you're doing brakes, if you're doing a brake job or anything around your wheels, and you have to take wheels off, you definitely want one of these. You want one of them anyways, because stuff on the engine, you'll need it. Harbor Freight, there's videos that show how good these are. They're like the dumbest tools, you know. I mean, when it's something this easy, these just work. So get the cheaper ones at Harbor Freight. But you need them. Anyways, if you're using these and you're using and you have a smaller sockets, you'll need drop down. So this one is an impact one. This one is chrome, obviously. And it goes, you know, these are both 1/2 inch to 3/4 or 3/8. I'm sorry, 1/2 inch 3/8. This one is 3/8 to 1/4 inch, and this one goes backwards, so it's a 3/8 this side, and then it's a 1/2 inch on this side. And I actually needed one of these, and I didn't have it, so when I saw it at Home Depot, both of these are from Home Depot. This is Home Depot as well. This is from a piece of junk, cheap one, but it doesn't break. Not yet, because it's only for 1/4 inch, so it's small. Anyways, you'll need these. They usually come in sets, so if you get that 301 piece set from Pittsburgh, I believe they have some of those. You also need extensions. That's what these are. And they just, from your ratchet to your socket, sometimes you need a little more length. It's great to have a bunch of them. Again, Harbor Freight sells these sets really cheap. Sets of them, so you get more than one. And they're good quality. This one's Stanley. These two are Stanley. I probably bought those at Walmart years ago. This one's a Craftsman. Anything I have that's Craftsman generally is from my grandfather after he passed. So they're bought years ago. This is the Husky. No, this is the Stanley one. Cheap one. Anyways, this is the Husky one. Man, it's rusty. Take better care of my tools. These black ones are from Harbor Freight. So just, again, I mean, this is something you can easily get at Harbor Freight and save a lot of money, and just get a bunch of them. So that's pretty much working with sockets. Let's move on to something else. Thanks so much for watching all the way to the end of part 2. And if you haven't seen part 1, please go back and watch part 1. And also, please look for part 2 or part 3, and click on part 3 to watch the next one. Again, thanks for watching.